We met here doing The Great Gatsby last year.
And ironically, our characters were having an affair in the show. So we had to get very close very fast. I think one of the first blocking things I had to do in rehearsal was to try and seduce you. So it was a very quick sort of getting to know each other very fast.
Well, we both showed up at auditions for Sherlock Holmes' Final Adventure back in 2013. And my first impression of Spencer was watching him audition and then talk when he was done with his audition. And I leaned over to my friend and I whispered, wow, he's really committed to the character. He's keeping his British accent off stage. So that's what I thought at first.
And lo and behold, he's kept it ever since.
Ever since.
Well, we met in the fall of 1999,
No, wait, you know the date.
October 7th, 1999.
He still has the little audition notice card somewhere.
Yeah,
He hung on to it.
Keep it in a drawer, stuffed away, just as a memento. So
We met in high school, actually a year before I got involved with Civic.
Before all the adventures started.
Before the adventures started. But we met at City High School, and actually I was a 10th grader coming into City, which was
In
unusual.
1986?
Yeah.
Is that right?
And what's unusual about that is, kids didn't start in 10th grade in City High School. And so I kind of walked into a function. It was like open house or first day of school or whatever. And she was the first person to come up and smile at me and say hi to me. And because I just looked like, how did you describe it?
I don't remember.
Just like the loneliest kid on the planet or something like that.
The first time we saw each other, I think, was here on the stage. He was during setup of a show for Annie in the summer of '85.
Yeah, and for me, I guess it was late in the rehearsal process, getting to know her. Every day that I had a rehearsal, it was another day to get to know her as a person, and there was a lot of intrigue there.
So there wasn't one moment.
I can't place it on one moment. It was very gradual.
So according to Jeff, he knew before we started dating. He said he fell in love with me before we even started dating. It was just a matter of convincing me. I did not know that quickly because I specifically remember being out doing, I don't know why we were in the lobby doing a dance rehearsal. We were in the lobby doing a dance rehearsal, and Jeff's much quieter than I am and takes a little longer to warm up. And he knew, you didn't know anybody in the cast, I don't think.
I didn't know.
No, he didn't know anyone, and I already had multiple friends. And I remember specifically being off to the side and looking over, and he's just standing back. And I said to my friend, who's the weirdo?
And so we were friends, and then we dated for a while, and then I moved to Austin, Texas to figure some things out and go do my own thing. And
And
then
we spent 10 years apart where we didn't even talk, didn't know each other, nothing.
And yes, and that's a tale. But
So many stories.
But we got reconnected, and it
Through
was
the magic of Facebook.
through the magic of Facebook.
And we just started talking again and realizing that all the old feelings were there. And
we were finally in the right space to be what we are.
We're getting married next June. Here, actually,
Yep.
on this stage.
Got engaged over the summer, and we actually just took our engagement pictures last week. And so we will be getting married here next June, and we're excited to start our lives together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started going and teaching, and we just ended up hanging out more and more, and it got to the point where that's pretty much all we wanted to do, was hang out with each other. So we did.
We did.
And then I asked her to marry me, and thankfully she said, well, she didn't say yes, actually. She said absolutely, which was far better.
I hope so.
I know so. Well, we used to, after some rehearsals, when we're all wound up, we'd go for walks as groups from the show, and sometimes Chris and I would go just together. And I asked if we could go out to dinner one night, and we had dinner downtown, and then we walked around a lot of the places that had become significant to us from those walks. And we got to the spot where I first told her I had feelings for her, and I dropped down to one knee and asked her to marry me. So, silly really, but
Nah. Meaningful.
meaningful.
Our official dating date was Thanksgiving that year.
November 25th.
Go figure. November 25th of 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And we got married on November 25th of 2000.
Mm-hmm. On our 1-year dating anniversary.
Yep. So it's been almost 16 years of marriage, and so it's easy for him to remember 16 years of marriage
Yeah.
and 17 years
And it's exactly
together.
1 month before Christmas, so
Yep, easy to remember. He
if I
can't.
forget, I'm really in
You have
trouble.
no excuse.
That's right.
No excuse at all.
We
It
got
was a-
married on the stage here, and that was absolutely incredible. It's a blur for me. Other people tell me things about it. I have no, it's just all a blur.
One funny story was
Minister.
Minister was going over, okay, you gonna say your own vows? And I was like, oh yeah, I think. And she says, no. And I looked at her and she's like, I will be a mess. I won't even be able to function. And I went,
I couldn't
All
even
right.
stand there without crying. I mean, trying to read vows was not going to happen.
mm-hmm.
But it was incredible because entire theater community packing the auditorium. I don't really like being on stage anymore. It makes me uncomfortable, but there I was.
And I will never forget the image of her walking down the aisle with Paul on her arm, walking her up. It was amazing.
It was a
Moment.
beautiful day, and we had some theater people sing, and then we went to one heck of a party and just had a great time.
And we did My Fair Lady with Jean Reed Bailey
Right.
as My Fair Lady. And we just did a whole bunch of shows here at Civic then the next year together. And then we got engaged and we were married like a year later.
It's a weird world. The theater is a really unique world, and I think to someone who loves it as much as I do and as much as Matt does, it's important to have someone that understands it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, just getting to know you as a person versus you as a character, getting to see all sides of each other. That's a big part of it.
For me, I think it was the fact that because our characters had such close interaction, it put us very close together a lot. And we had to trust each other in that circumstance. If something goes wrong in a scene, you have to completely trust the person opposite you that they're going to bring the scene back. It's not going to stall and look awful. So you get that element of trust with each other. And then when you're already playing a romantic interest, there's a closeness that develops. And, while for us at that time it was friendship, it certainly blossomed into far more.
You become so close, you spend so much time with each other, you get emotional in ways you didn't expect. You're vulnerable because you're showing a side of you that people may not see, but at the same time, you really feel like you can be yourself. Theater's such an open, it's such an open group of people who are willing to accept anyone. So you learn a lot about people while you're there. I learned he wasn't a weirdo. I mean, actually, no, he's still a weirdo, but he's my weirdo.
The feelings when you're working in theater are very intense. You're in the trenches with people, you're trusting them. If things go well, people support each other. If things don't go well, people still support each other. And it's a kind of intimate friendship that you make with people. And somewhere along the line that just turned into more.
It's home. I just directed Holes at Civic, and it was like putting on an old, comfortable set of clothes again. It was just, I just kind of, at one point during rehearsals, I just stood around and stared and went, this is where I've wanted to be.
It does feel like
all
coming
along,
home. And
so.
when I started lighting designing here, which was, 15 years after, forever ago, it did feel like doing something coming home. And the people here are so supportive, the staff, the cast, the crews, and everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants this magic to happen, and we all work together as a team. And
I think though, don't you think, it's all theaters have a sense of family, not just the Civic. And when people work creatively together, I think that brings them closer together. And when you find people that you can be organized, have fun with, and produce something that's artworking, there's a bonding there. So I think that's why you see a lot of theatrical romances.
And especially most of them are volunteers, and so they really want to be here. They really are enjoying it. They keep coming back, and so that since everybody wants to be here, not just doing a job, that makes it a much more of a family